Now, I'm not doing this because I'm hot, just so you know. This is how I would prefer to celebrate Mass. In fact, I prefer cut-off sweats and a t-shirt because it's the most comfortable for me and it's the coolest for me. But I would guarantee you if I stood up here and continued to celebrate like this, probably half of you would leave. In fact, I hope half of you would leave. And the other half might stay here, but they wouldn't worship. They probably wouldn't worship like they should. Let alone if I had on cut-off sweats and a t-shirt, as I'm most comfortable. And so I thought today I would show you how we vest. You know, the Mass for the priest begins before the actual ceremony, the actual liturgy. And so there is a prayerful vesting before Mass. Not only the prayer of intention, but with each of the garments that goes on, there is a prayer that goes with that. And so the priest first makes his statement of intention, that I'm offering this Mass for the Holy Roman Catholic Church, for our Pope, for the bishops, and all the faithful. And I'm going to celebrate this Mass according to the Roman ritual, the one that I was given over to when I was baptized. Not the one that was given over to me, but the one that I was given over to. And then I wash my hands. Da Domine, virtutis manibus meis et abstergendum omnem maculum, et sine pollutionem mentis et corporis valium tibi severe. What it prays is that my hands may be pure. It's a ceremonial washing, but it means that I'm getting ready to do something special. I'm getting ready to behold and present the Eucharist to the people of God. And then some priests, I know Father Wayne will do this, they place an amice over their shoulders. Impone Domini capri meo gallium salutis et expugnandos diabolicos in cursus. It's a prayer of exorcism. It's asking that our mind be kept whole and that the devil be expunged, that we might not be distracted during the Mass, but that we might be protected from that. And then we put on the alb. The alb is our baptismal garment. And the alb is supposed to cover our street clothes so that we don't bring what's out there in here, we bring what's in here out there. And as the priest vests in the alb, De alba me Domine, et mundo comeum ut in sanguine ad indeobatus gaudis perfuar sempiternis. Make me white, O Lord, and cleanse my heart, that being made white in the blood of the Lamb, I may deserve an eternal reward. And after the alb is placed on, then the cincture. The cincture is the belt or the rope, and the cincture symbolizes chastity. That priest will take a promise of chastity and obedience to the bishop. Praecingame Domine, cingulo puritastis, et extingue in meis lumis homorum lubidinis, ut maniat me in virtus continentiae et castitatis. Amen. Gird me, O Lord, with the cincture of purity, and quench in my heart the fire of concupiscence, that the virtue of continence and chastity may abide in me. Next is the stole. The stole is the symbol of the priesthood, and is holy, so we venerate it with a kiss. Redemihi Domine stolme mortalitatis, quam perdi in prevaricationi primi parentes et quambus et dignus occedo a tuum sacrum mysterium, meriar camen gaudium sempiternum. Amen. Lord, restore the stole of immortality, which I lost through the collusion of our first parents, and unworthy as I am to approach thy sacred mysteries, may I yet gain eternal joy. And finally, the chasuble. The chasuble is actually the symbol of governance, because the kings of the ancient world wore the chasuble. You might recognize if I take the corner of it and throw it over my shoulder that I look like Caesar. So the kings of the ancient world wore these chasubles. They would just sling it over their shoulder. For the priest, in a special way, it represents the yoke. Jesus says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, the yoke I created for you from the beginning of the world. Domine quid existi iugem meam suave est et facuris tuit portaris sic valium quod consequartum gratiam. O Lord, who has said, my yoke is sweet and my burden light, grant that I may so carry it as to merit my grace. Amen. and then, of course, a prayer before Mass. Now, I do this because, like I said, these are not the most comfortable clothes for me to wear, but I do it because of my intention. That it puts me in the mindset that what I'm about to do is not for me, that I am the servant of the Lord, subject to the liturgy and the ritual and the rite that I have been given over to at my baptism. I remember being in Lourdes in France, and we were standing outside the basilica, and there was a woman there who had on a dress that went all the way to the ground, but her shoulders and part of her chest was exposed. And I remember she was fighting over this guy to get in there because he wouldn't let her in like that. He told her to cover up. And he said, she said, "What's wrong with this? My skirt goes the whole way to the ground." And he said, "Yes, madame, but your shoulders and your memories are showing." And I thought, wow, never heard that word like that. And then she was putting up a fight, and she said, "You know what? God doesn't care what I wear." And he said, "Madame, in France, he does." And I would propose, yes, the Lord created us without clothes. And that's right, He doesn't care what we wear, but He does care about our intention. I am most comfortable in cutoffs, but this shows my intention. That I am going deeper into a mystery, something that's so much different from everything else that happens outside of this church. There are some who will say that they went to the Latin Mass, and they say everybody's dressed like they're from the 50s. And I think to myself, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wearing a suit to church? What's wrong with wearing a dress? And with me, actually, it's not even an issue of dressing up. It's an issue of covering up. You see, when Paul talks about the thorn in his side, he never mentions what it is. It's ambiguous, and I think it's purposely that way because we all have our thorns in our side. But we don't want to cause that temptation for anyone else. And I would say for myself as a priest, a celibate priest, I'm still a man. And of all the places I think I can be safe from temptation to lust, I would hope it would be in the church. And so I would just ask that as we come to the Mass, that we don't want to be an idol for anyone else. We don't want to draw anyone's attention away from the most important one who is here by the way we dress or the way we don't dress. Now I know this is an issue that comes up in every church, and I take great consolation in knowing that Jesus, who is God, in his hometown, could not perform any miracles. And so I don't purport to do that either. But I would ask us in the days ahead, not to ask how we're dressing or what we're wearing or not wearing, but to ask, what is my intention? If people see me going somewhere, do they know that today I will be visiting the most important person in my life, the most important person in the world?